Welcome to Gardening at 58 North. Today I'm going to give you guys a quick update on my pond snails and my water plants container here. So I've just got it under the light at the moment just so it's nice and bright and so you can see it. Normally I have it on a south facing window where it's nice and sunny. So since I last did the update, the snails have got much bigger. You can see them all here. Get the focus for you. They're really getting quite large now. So these are actually all covered in one spot because they want to pee. I've been feeding them half a frozen pea a day and they seem to eat it in one day. I've tried giving them one frozen pea and it just takes them 2 days. So basically it's half a day. I think it's better to do half a day instead of one every 2 days because that way the peas aren't staying in the water for too long and they're not breaking down and making the water go too strange. So the other thing that's changed is the plant. You can see it's got a lot bigger. I'll just remove the light so you can see it. It's now looped around twice. It was just looped around once. You can see it's actually more than doubled in size since I first planted it. So it's doing really well. That's because it's got plenty of food and it's getting quite a lot of light now because it's now March. So the food that the plant is getting is from a little bit of fertilizer that I put in towards the beginning, but also it's now getting a lot of food from the peas. So the process that happens is the snails eat the peas. They then passes out of the snails, and then the waste from the snails then goes into the water and feeds the plant. And the snails have been eating the roots on the plant, but they haven't been eating the leaves. So even that's recycling it a bit. So to make sure there was enough calcium in the water, because up here in Scotland we've got soft water, so it's not any. There's not any minerals in it because it's quite acidic, so there wouldn't be enough for the snails to form any shells. So what I've been doing is I've put an eggshell in. You can see that rectangular piece there. That's the eggshell, and that's just to make sure there's a bit of calcium carbonate so that the snails can form their own shell. Other thing I did was a few weeks ago I added some special fertilizer that I had, which instead of having a mixture of chemicals, it only had magnesium and I think it was calcium oxide it had in it. So that's boosted the calcium levels a lot. So there should be more than enough for the pond snails now. What happened after I put that in is, unfortunately, I did have a bloom of bacteria and all the water went completely cloudy. And actually some of the snails tried to climb out the container because they could obviously tell the water wasn't very good quality anymore. But that only lasted about a week. And as you can see, the water is completely cleared again. And it's looking really nice. The only thing that's happened recently is there is a little bit of green algae starting to appear. You can't see it when you look straight through the container, but if you look at the side of the glass along there, you can see a bit of green starting to show on just on the side. So it is starting to get a bit of algae on it. But I did actually want some algae because the job of the snails is to eat the algae. So you can see this snail here. He's going along, and what they do is they use their tongue and they just keep licking the glass, and they take all the algae off the glass and eat it. So my hope is I won't have to feed them peas every day. What will happen is there'll be enough nutrients in the tank for the algae to start growing again, and then the snails will just eat the algae off the tank. Other plants I have here are the little aquatic grasses. They haven't really grown, I'm not sure why. I suspect possibly with the Elodia here growing so much, that pondweed is just absorbing all the nutrients in the water, and there's not enough nutrients really for the grasses because they are getting enough light now that it's spring. They have grown a tiny bit, but just not very much at all. But with me now putting half a pea in every day and with a little bit of algae starting to grow on the side, I think it's now starting to get enough nutrients in there. There's actually excess. So hopefully these will start to grow soon. So that's the update for my pond snails. As you can see, that one at the back there, they are getting quite large. So they're growing really fast now, especially now I've started to feed them. Last time I showed you, I think they were about this big. You can still see there's a few small ones. There's 2 there, 3 there actually. But now they're getting really big with that food. So I'm going to keep giving them peas for now. If the tank gets very green, then I'll stop feeding them peas and they'll start eating the algae again. But that's my tank for now. I'm hoping to get a fish tank eventually, and what I will do is I'll transfer some of the pondweed from here and also some of the snails into that tank, and I'll give you guys a video whenever that happens, but it might be a few months still until I get a fish tank. So that's the update on my pond snails and my water plants.